maybe involved in the project, maybe not aware of it just yet, but a very fascinating story and a great connection that we have here at Holland America Line. So that being said, please join me in welcoming our Project Linus coordinator. It's Marty. Hey, Marty. Welcome on out. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again, and thank you for all you do with Project Linus.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And so this morning, I want to learn a little bit about you, how you became involved with Holland America Line, but also the connection that Project Linus has to Holland America Line's Grand World Voyages and what we can expect moving forward. So lots of questions from my side today. Sorry, Marty. But let's start off with you. I want to know, and hopefully you heard on the announcement, it is our birthday today. Holland America Line is 153 years young. And so how did you first become involved with Holland America Line sailing as a guest and then working with this project?
Well, we started our first world cruise in 2017. Before 2017, we were actually on the Bowler Dam in 2016, and we spent 90 days in Asia. It wasn't a grand, it was just a back-to-back. But in 2017, my wife and I took our first world cruise, and that's when we noticed that they had Project Linus on the ship, and I didn't crochet or knit or any of that stuff. So I would just sit there and help and do tedious little things. But at the end of the cruise, they decided I would be a good fit to take it over. And I said, yes, I just have to learn. I have to learn how to crochet, and I have to learn all the terminologies, and I have to figure out how to get the yarn, and we need to change it up a little bit, make it a little easier than it was. But Project Linus has been on Holland America for over 25 years. Actually, the third person to run it on Holland America. First was a gentleman, then was a lady who did it for 12, 15 years, named Malvina, a very nice lady. And then she decided she had enough of it. And then I, as of 2018, took it over. My wife and I run it. And to speed up the story a little bit, we used to buy the yarn retail, and then I figured out, well, that's not going to work. We have to start getting it wholesale. And finally, in 2020, we were able to buy it direct from the manufacturer.
Well, speaking of the yarn, can you talk a little bit about the logistics of getting everything here? Because it's not like you arrive day one of the world cruise, bags packed with yarn. It's very many months of planning and logistics and coordination prior to that, correct?
Correct. So in about 2 months, Gail, my wife, picks out the colors of the yarn. It's about 35 different colors. And we have to buy a minimum of 1 million yards of yarn, or 1 million meters. Just think about how many football fields that is. And then it gets delivered the first week of November to our home by a tractor trailer who has to navigate into our home, our community, because tractor trailers, it's very difficult. We have to pull our car out of the garage, and 2 pallets have to be pushed into the garage, and it fills up our whole garage. It's 1 million yards of yarn. And we have to buy it by the case back, meaning to say that, as you might see the blankets up here, black, we have to buy 24 skeins of it. White, 24 skeins of it. And some colors, we buy multiple cases of it. From there, it has to be broken up, because otherwise there would be way too many boxes to have on a ship. So we found a moving company who was willing to give me used boxes that have been used before, and we pack it into these moving boxes. Let's say 3 white, 3 yellow, 3 red, 3 green. There's 35 different colors. I don't know if I mentioned that. And then we have to number all those boxes, telling us what's in those boxes. Then we have to, speeding up the story a little bit, we rent a U-Haul truck, and the day before the cruise, I drive a large U-Haul truck with over 40 some odd moving boxes, they're called dispatch boxes, to the ship. And then the ship is very gracious, and they unload it.
So we're all packing a month in advance, for the world cruise and trying to get this and that. You are sorting yarn and numbering moving boxes and this and that. So a very big project.
Yeah, it's actually a year-round project. because even things like a crochet hook, which we buy from China, and I buy a year and a half or a 2-year supply of it. We buy 400 or 500 crochet hooks. They have to be ordered because it takes months and months to get them, and then sometimes they don't have it. Also, what sometimes they don't have is certain colors, a typical yellow. So the manufacturer said to us, we don't have yellow. We won't have it until February. I said, February? That's not going to work. How are you going to get it to me? So we had to buy it retail. What I mean by retail is we found coupons and went to certain stores and bought the yarn.
Well, notice how there's not a lot of yellow in these ones. So you're like, let's ration the yellow, not use that one too much if it was at retail.
We sometimes do. We sometimes do ration. But right now I'm rationing white. Aldana is one of the volunteers who helps sit at the desk. She said, oh, let's take out some more white. And I said this morning, no, let's not. Let's hold it back in case someone has a blanket that's not completed yet and they need some white. Because where am I going to get white now for the next 7 days at sea?
Good question. So Marty, that's a little bit about how you came to be involved, or maybe voluntold, or fell into your role. So very wonderful. I just want to say one thing before I head into the next question. This morning, just after our coffee chat, we're going to do like a heritage meetup, and I wanted an opportunity for people to share stories of their connection to Holland America Line, how they either became involved or interested in cruising, or their family. So many guests over the years have shared, hey, they're great grandparents, or they've got a relative that immigrated, so lots of rich stories, and so thank you for sharing yours. And we're going to do that in Explorers Lounge just after this. But for now, Marty, I want to know, what is Project Linus? How did the organization come about, and is it only on our ships? Are there chapters on land? Is it around the world? What does this project mean?
So Project Linus is in three major countries. They're in the United States, Canada, and the UK. It might be in other countries, I'm not sure. I know it's 31 years old because the birthday was last year. And it's, I'm trying to think of all the facts that I know by heart. It's designed to give blankets to very ill children. Very ill. I'm not referring to a broken leg or a broken arm. Very seriously ill, terminated children, very ill children. And there's different chapters picking on the United States. Most every major city has one where people will either crochet or knit or quilt a blanket. Here on the ship, we only crochet or knit. It's too hard to quilt. And they've made millions and millions of blankets. Unfortunately, there's not enough blankets. Holland America Project Linus at Sea is a very unique thing because we're not really a chapter. You have to have a legal address at an established place, and obviously we move and that won't work. But they've accepted us, and even Holland America over the last 25 years has made thousands and thousands of blankets. Since I've been involved, I think Holland's tracking it, and we've made over 2,000 blankets since I've been involved. The blankets are approximately, not like these, like I say again, these 3 blankets are here, and I'll discuss that for a few minutes. So there's one guest on board who wants to stay anonymous, who makes blankets for the purpose of giving it to children, as well as raising money to buy more yarn. This is about a $7,000 to $8,000 project by the time you add the truck fees. The freight just to get it to my home is over $800. The purchasing of the yarn, which is $5,000 to $6,000 depending on the year. So this one guest who wants to stay anonymous makes blankets strictly for the purpose of raising money for yarn. And this is an example, these 3 over here, of one of the ones that'll be for auction tomorrow. Tomorrow on Deck 8 in Lido, miniature pool, we're going to cover the whole Lido today. Every lounge chair, every chair, and the ship has about 34 tables on board. Every table will be utilized with blankets that the guests have made. So far they've made over 350 blankets, or maybe 400. I'm looking at guests in the corner over there. There's two ladies making blankets. There's one in the back there making blankets. I've seen them in the dining room as they're eating, they're making blankets. You see them all over the ship making blankets.
Well, what a beautiful project, especially here, on the ships, bringing people together. Quite a few guests, Marty, have said, hey, I never picked up needles in my life, and
Right.
within a few days they're just grooving along, and creating a community here, but also, again, like you said, providing this beautiful gesture of warmth, probably emotionally as well, to blanket these children in a bit of comfort in this tough and doesn't sound like promising time, to be honest, and to be able to do that, it's a wonderful thing. So thank you for spearheading it, and again, if you've been involved in any way, shape, or form, or even just passed by or commented on someone's work, thank you for playing a part in it as well.
We have 4 volunteers who are able, including myself, who are able to teach ones who've done this 50 years ago, 30 years ago, or who have never done it, male or female, it's not a problem. I crochet myself. I only know double crochet, a single stitch, that's all I know. And I go back, my blankets don't look like any of these. Mine are very simple. I change
You sure you're not
colors.
the one that wanted to remain anonymous? That's not yours.
No. Mine are very simple, but they might have 3 or 4 different colors in it. And again, it's a blanket made with love. In fact, I tell a story that my youngest son, who's 49 years old, says, Dad, why are you doing all this work? I'll buy you 200 or 300 blankets. And I said, no, you don't get it. It has to be made with love. And a little detail I left out. That all the blankets that are made on the ship or made anywhere for Project Linus are all washed. They're folded a certain way, and then there's a ribbon put around them and a tag put on it that says made with love. And I've heard stories that it's amazing things.
Do you know where the blankets get sent from here? Once we disembark in Fort Lauderdale, do they stay there? Are they distributed wherever the need is? Are you aware of any of that playing out, Marty?
So I know exactly what happens to our blankets that are made on the ship. I put a bill of lading on every box. There'll be about 24 boxes that'll have blankets packed into them after tomorrow's display and before we finish. I put a bill of lading on it where it should go. Holland America graciously pays to have them shipped to this location of Project Linus. And then from there, distributed. That part of it, I'm not involved. Tearjerker. I don't want to go there.
Set some boundaries and say, I'm no longer doing that bit. I'll just take care of the ship side of things, which I think is enough.
I can't do that.
But before we open up to questions, where do you see the future of the project itself, but also with our partnership with Holland America Line?
Looking for volunteers in case any of you want to help do this for next year. I definitely need help for next year. I'll need more help because I think there'll be more full world guests coming on board, doing the full world cruise, and usually about 12-14% participate. This particular year, over 180 guests participated, are participating, helped make blankets. Where would it go with Holland America? I think it'll continue. The relationship that I made with the manufacturer will stay. The manufacturer, we pay for the yarn. The only donations we get is donations from guests, the money that's raised from this, and Holland America contributes as well, a small part. But Holland America does contribute. I think it'll continue. I think guests enjoy it. I enjoy it. I do it year round. I have an expression that it's a little fun, it's for charity, and it's relaxing. After you've done it not blankets like this might be very frustrating, but a simple pattern, it becomes very relaxing. Again, I'm looking at a person over there, 2 over there, so you can easily do it, not necessarily watching a show in the evening, but at a lecture when the
No, they
lights
do it
are
at
on.
shows in the evening, Marty. I can promise you they do.
They do? Well, there is one guest, I won't say who does it in pitch black. It's as dark as could be, and I see this lady crocheting at a mile away, it's amazing.
Well, you mentioned 180, guests so far have been involved, which is
Yes.
quite impressive when you, do the math. But I've also seen team members get involved as well.
Team
And it's been
members.
really beautiful to see some of the team come alongside guests and chit chat and share this project together and come do this beautiful work.
We've had crew members on board, I'm sorry, team members on board. Line cook on Lido, one of her roommates took a picture, she's on a bunk bed, and she's on the top bunk, and she's going like this. I had the picture. And I had to finish blanket. The gift shop, over 20 gift shop staff, because they have to report at 9, but the shops don't open until 10 on sea days. So they just have to be there. One of the volunteers that volunteered to teach them. So there's over 30 volunteers from the shops in the casino who made squares, 10-inch squares, and 16 10-inch squares, 40 by 40, equal a blanket. And that's added up into many, many, many. In fact, there's 3 guests on board. That's all they're doing is sewing up these squares. We have so many squares, and now with the 7 days of sea days coming up, many more sea days that we'll have many, many squares.
Amazing. So cool. Thank you,
Yeah,
Marty.
cooks, the spa, captains' wives, not the cruise director.
Marty, you see my creativity is lacking, you know? I try, I walk by and support, and we'll see. Maybe I'll
If
get
you're
a
a
square
lefty,
second.
we'll teach you. If you're a righty, we'll teach you. You only need one hand.
Let's do it. Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
We got it.
So let's turn it over to you all if you
Yeah,
have
ask
questions.
questions.
And well, do you want to show these, or do you
Sure.
want to wait for
I don't
Marty?
mind. I have John and my other buddy over here. Nope. Guys, if you grab those 2, I'll grab this one. And stay. Oh, John. John, down.
The amount of work we got to get permission to get
There's
him
no
up
free
here.
cruises, only brochures.
There you go.
Free brochures, deck 5, just before the dining room. We have free brochures. So if you guys grab one, I'll grab this one. Here you go, guys. So this is a sample of 3 of the blankets that'll be on auction tomorrow. But the main idea of tomorrow is to show off the other blankets that the guests have made. But again, we have to raise money for yarn, and it's not free. It's like I say, thousands and thousands of dollars. And one guest makes these blankets, only these blankets, no others are sold, never. And that's the agreement we've made. And this is a sample of 3 of the blankets that'll be on auction tomorrow. There'll be about 25 blankets, auctioned off tomorrow. It's one day. It's from 8 to 11:30, and at 11:15, the auction is closed. We'll call it. Highest bidder wins. It's the way I've done it since 2018, 19. I think 19 we started.
So tomorrow, poolside, like you said, all the tables, the lounge chairs, they'll be covered in the blankets that have been created. And then how many on auction?
Approximately 25, depending on how many chairs and tables they have there available to display them. You'll see there'll be numbers assigned to each one. There'll be 2 bid tables, and the numbers coordinate with the bid tables, and it works. The system works. We've done this for years already.
So we'll bring our cameras and we'll check it out. Beautiful.
Yeah, it looks, the guest, besides these, the guest blankets are beautiful. The creativity, the different designs, the amount of work that they put into it, and then you see guests ripping them out because they're not happy with it. They want it to be perfect and perfect and perfect, and they are. So every blanket's made with love, and every blanket is beautiful. It's one of the things I preach. The blanket's beautiful. The blanket's beautiful. It's going to a child who will really enjoy it and love it.
Is there a template for beginners to follow, or you're just like, this is what we do, go for it?
So one of my volunteers has graciously made what we call starters. They made a 10-inch starter. They made the first 3 rows. and all you have to do is continue.
Well, I asked that question for myself, so thank you, Marty. So,
And we also have 40-inch starters, which is a full blanket. But we always recommend that people start with a 10-inch. It takes about 2 or 3 hours, and it's fairly easy to do. It's repetitive. It's in and out. It's like doing hook rugs. If you ever did hook rugs 40, 50 years ago, where you had this mesh and you had a certain color yarn and you had to stick it in with a hook and pull it through, it's the same principles. Same principles as hook rugging.
Cool. I can't promise that I'll have mine ready for tomorrow, but I'll try it out, Marty.
Any questions that you guys have? This is a once-a-year shot. You have me up here.
I think it's D. I can't see with the lights. Hey, D. So I believe the question is there a cash box that we have? Yes, we have it on every seed day. My wife took a tissue box and she wrapped it and she put something on the cash box. And we always get, almost continuously throughout the cruise, people come by, I don't want to crochet. You know, here's a penny. I don't want to crochet, here's $20. People are always doing it, and regardless of the currency, we'll take it. It's not a problem. Money's money, and it helps buy yarn. So what I care about is buying more yarn, buying more crochet hooks, needles, darning needles. But yes, there is a cash box if you don't want to buy a blanket. In fact, I even came up with this, I think 2 years ago. If you live in the United States, I don't mind shipping it to you if that was an issue, but you're going to pay for the postage. It might be $20, $25 to ship it, but I'll bring it to a UPS store when I get home. But most guests, we fold it up a certain way, and they're able to take it home with no problem. Good to know. So if we have any spare change from the voyage, we can drop it by you. Amazing.
Definitely. It's not a problem.
What else?
Anyone else? Yes.
Go ahead.
So first of all, I would like to say you are amazing and you have a heart the size of the world. This project is the most incredible project ever, and I love every time I see all those blankets displayed and everybody that's involved with it. Kudos and thank you. And
Thank you, Tony.
the generosity is amazing. My question to you, Marty, is how do you manage to do what you just explained I never knew before about the trucks loading to your house and all the rest of that? How do you manage to do all of that and still travel as much as you do? And do you do the blankets on any of the other trips that you do during the year?
So Tony asked, how are we able to organize this and arrange this? Because it takes 12 months to. I started 2 months ago preparing for next year. I would see the hotel director and Samantha, and we're coming up with plans for next year, because sometimes it takes 12 months ahead planning. Even the lights in Ocean Bar, we're planning maybe during the next dry dock that we'll add some more lights in Ocean Bar, and that's not until the end of 27 that'll get done. So thanks to my wife and I, we're pretty organized people with Excel spreadsheets, and we do Excel spreadsheets for literally everything, and we just have to plan. And similar to Holland America, how they could project how much bread or wine they're going to use, we do the same thing. So I do have a track record from 2018, 19, and 20 World Cruise, and 23, and 24, and 25, and now 26. But then it's also a guessing game. Example, blue, as you see in this blanket here. We don't have any more dark blue. For some reason, we ran out of dark blue. So next year, instead of 1 case of dark blue, we'll buy 2 cases of dark blue. I'd rather have more than not enough. I always tell, I want there to be plenty of yarn so they can keep making blankets. Also, the ship is gracious enough that we're able to keep 5 or 6 boxes from one year to the other. This year we won't. We're probably going to use up every crumb of yarn. We also make piece blankets. So anything bigger than 4 inches, we want back of the guest. because we sew that together and we're able to make a blanket out of that. I mean, literally nothing goes to waste. Your other question was, so yes, I actually enjoy crocheting. I only crochet my simple back and forth, waiting on doctor's appointments. You sit there for 20 minutes and you're worried about what type of test result you're going to get. I'll crochet. And also before I take my blood pressure, I crochet. I'm serious. I crochet. I said, Mr. Gottlieb, are you ready? I said, no, 20 more minutes. And I'll go like this, and I'll breathe slow, and I'll breathe slower, and my blood pressure goes down. In the evening, I find it very calming to crochet. And yes, my wife and I go away in the fall. We go on a Pinnacle class ship typically, and that is, people make fun. That's my vacation. Because I don't have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and sit up. But I enjoy it, and I enjoy making a blanket for a child.
Thanks, Marty. Is it Elaine? Yeah, go ahead, Elaine.
Speak a little bit about the environment with having the net dinner on board and the smoking house that benefits with the sick children when they get them. Because they wash the blankets when they get them.
Okay, so because of all the various different chapters, the names, I left out something. It must be 100% acrylic yarn, 100% polyester yarn. That's number one. They test the blankets to make sure they're 100% polyester because they go into medical facilities, and some of the children might have allergic reactions to certain types of yarns. So it must be 100% acrylic. When it happens on land, the person might have a cat or a dog or various other obstacles, so they wash every blanket. Even our blankets, which I tell them is brand new yarn, and there's no cats and dogs here, they wash every yarn. They take it very, very serious. Project Linus has a board of directors who are all volunteers, and it's a very serious issue. It's just, it's going to children who are very ill. And you wouldn't want to subject them to possibly someone who could get affected by a cat or a dog hair on it. That's the reason why.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I never considered that. Thank you. I think there was a hand just up front, and then we'll head this side as well. Go ahead.
You have so many boxes, and I know you also sell this away. Where's your storage space? Because they come in and out, in and out.
So throughout the years that I've done this, the Amsterdam ship was the first world cruise ship I was on, and then we had the Zaire. So on the Amsterdam, it used to be held in Club Howell, which is on deck 10, and they used to drag the boxes down the steps. I didn't care about that. I cared about the crew getting hurt. Then we had the Zaire, and the Zaire had a Club Howell as well, because there was no kids on board. I said, let's keep it there, and there's an elevator. Then when it came to this ship, I said, look, no more steps. If a crew member gets hurt with these boxes, I'm going to feel guilty. So we use typically a cabin that's under construction or major renovation, or it's under a situation. That's where they go. So they could be 45, I'm talking about huge boxes of yarn in there. It's a process, but I also tell them which boxes I'm going to use so they don't have to juggle them around. They know the night before. In fact, here's a list for tomorrow. I give it to them a day in advance, and once the blankets are made, besides tomorrow, they don't have to move those boxes. So I want to make it easy for the crew, that it's not difficult, and I want them to feel very relaxed. We show the crew what this is about, we explain to them, and that's how I do it.
Secret storage. We'll go here, and then we'll wrap up. I think I saw a couple of hands on this side.
What happened in 2020? All the blankets and the 500,000 liters of unused yarn.
Oh boy. You have to be a crazy volunteer to do what my wife and I do. 2020, 4 weeks before we aborted in Perth, Australia, ran out of yarn. That's before we bought from the manufacturer. We used to buy retail, my wife and I. We would save up coupons. We would go to a retail store, and I would have a stack of coupons, 3 or 4 shopping carts, and the rules were you had to ring up one at a time. Then they said 1 per day. So I would say to Gail, you wait outside, I'll go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. During the 2020 World Cruise, we were on the Amsterdam, so we had to buy yarn. We bought it in Sydney, Australia. We had, I think, 3 cabs. We had to get 3 cabs to go, and we brought it back. And we had a delivery of yarn to the ship. We raised money on the ship to buy more yarn. The yarn comes on board, 2020, abort in Perth. 7 months later, all of our luggage went back to Fort Lauderdale, including 400 finished blankets, all this brand new yarn we just bought in Perth. What do I have to do? Rent a truck. And you couldn't rent a truck in Fort Lauderdale, so I had to rent it in Jacksonville, Florida, 5 hours away. I had to drive it from Jacksonville to Fort Lauderdale, pick up all these blankets, and pick up all this yarn. And then, now what do I do? And it was just a major problem. But the Fort Lauderdale chapter said, we'll take 200 blankets. Because they just can't, the average chapter, you just can't deliver 400, 500 blankets to them. It overwhelms them. These are usually male or female volunteers, and it just overwhelms them. So we gave them 200 blankets. I brought the other 300 or 200 and change back to Fort Lauderdale with the other yarn, and I gave it to my Jacksonville, where I live, Jacksonville, Florida, has a chapter, and I said to her, I'll bring you 2 boxes a week. Will that work? And 2 boxes a week, and 2 boxes a week, because they had to wash them, and that's how the process worked in 2020. But during COVID, since you mentioned that, I said, we can't keep buying this retail. It's not working. So I kept calling the manufacturer. I had plenty of time. Can't go anywhere. Hi, this is Marty from Holland America Project Linus at Sea. I really like to buy direct. I'll prepay. I'll pay in full. I'll give you a $5,000, $6,000 order, and I'll accept whatever you'll give me. No, I'm sorry, we can't sell to you. Call back the next day. And I did that continuously, and they said, you have to stop calling, Mr. Gottlieb. I said, let me buy direct. I'll prepay. I'll take whatever colors you'll give me. And it's for Project Linus. This is for charity. What do I have to do? How much begging you want me to do? And they said, I'll tell you what. If you don't call, you could buy. The company's called Spinrite. They're the largest manufacturer in the world. They own Red Hot, they own Corone, and it finally happened. And from that year on, we buy direct. And I prepay, and it gets delivered to our home, and it's a tailgate delivery, meaning to say that your headache to get, the driver stands there, and it's your headache to get it off this tractor trailer. And it could be 40 or 50 fairly small boxes, but my hand truck it into the garage. My hand truck it into the garage. It works, but it was an issue for World Cruise.
And if we check your recent call log, they're not in there.
No, I don't call anymore.
Okay.
I don't call. I email them. Again, my wife makes up an Excel spreadsheet, looks like a purchase order, and we send it in, and it gets filled, and I have to pray that they have all the colors that I want, and then I have to pray, because in 2025, there was 2 pallets, and only 1 got delivered, and the second pallet got lost. And then I started calling again. And they found the second pallet and was finally delivered.
All right, Marty, we're going to finish with the 2 hands over here. Go ahead. There might have been another. Go ahead.
On Holland America tours, or Holland America cruises, are there other Project Linuses or only the World?
Only the World Cruise, because it takes a crazy couple to run this. It's just not that easy. You know, it costs money. It's not that I'm getting paid money. So you have to find someone willing to dedicate your time, willing to donate some money towards the cause. And it's just not that easy. It takes a lot of work. I don't know if you've seen the yarn ball winders. To make it real quick, I'm going to have to yarn ball winder 200 or 300 skis before the 2027 World Cruise. So I'm going to have to bring in 200 or 300 skeins into our living room, which is going to fill the whole living room, and gradually do 3 or 4 a day, or 5 or 6 a day, until I finish 200 or 300 skeins. And then I'm going to have to bag that up and box that up, and that'll be boxes for next year, because we're going to use all the yarn we have. I hope we do. I hope we use every crumb. I hope we make more blankets.
Amazing. Well, Marty, thank you for what you do, Gail,
Thank you,
anyone
everyone.
who's been involved. Beautiful gesture with your time, energy, and support. So many thanks, and we'll see you up tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow morning up for the showcase.
Yes, please come visit us tomorrow.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you to our volunteers.